Dear Brenda, new line. I must apologize profusely, but next Tuesday will not work for lunch as I have to go to a meeting at that time.
Hi, George.
¿Cómo estás, guapo?
Bien guapo.
Aquí, haciendo y deshaciendo.
Está bien.
Ay, tengo que mandar un mensajito. Dame un segundito.
All right.
Good evening, Mario.
Hi, Abe. How are you?
Jim.
Period. Please let me know if there's any other dates in August that work. Period.
You have the sound on, so we know what your message is. Hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't have a choice.
Yes, you have. You
No,
can-
because I can't dictate if I turn you guys off. It won't let me dictate.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's Jacob Polivoy. Jacob Polivoy. We are on Lamed Zion 37. Hoyel v'roy l'biyah metami nami b'ziva. We said that a boy, once he's 9 years old, that he's roy l'biyah, that's when he's going to be metami b'ziva. You can get the Gemara in the living room. So a goyish girl, 3 days and 3 years and 1 day. So she's also roy l'biyah at that age. Hoyel roy l'biyah metami nami b'ziva. She'll also have the same din as the boy. Why do you need to tell me that? It's never portion. The 9-year-old boy knows how to seduce other children to come and participate in mishkav. The 3-year-old girl doesn't do that. So I might have thought only the boy, not the girl. Kamash that we matami the girl as well. Mistamech v'oz Rav Yehuda Nisiya akatfed Rav Simloi Shamoy. Rav Yehuda the Nasi was riding on the shoulders of Rav Simloi, his servant. You were not yesterday in the base medrash when we mattered the oil of shemen, the oil of goyim. Amar lo v'yamenu tatir avas apas. In our day, we will also permit pasak. Amar lo kain karlon beis din sharia. Your bezdin will be called a lenient bezdin. That's not. We have a Mishnah. Hey, Rabbi Yossi ben Yoezer, East Straight, one of these zugos. Al ayil kamsa the king. Ayil kamsa is a grasshopper that's kosher. There are certain meaning of grasshopper. I went to Halachic Suda. Harold was there with me a week ago with Rabbi Slifkin, and for dessert they gave a grasshopper. I did not eat it, but there are kosher grasshoppers.
Harold?
He didn't eat it either. V'al mashke de beis midbechoy, the fluids in the butcher house of the Beis Hamikdash, meaning the water, the blood, is also tohor. V'al dikarv lemisa, somebody who touches a mace, misoiv, becomes tummy. V'karu le Yosef Sharoy, and they called him Yosef the permitter. So Rav Samloi responded, Hasam sharat plus, Umar shar chadat. You don't have to worry, Rabbi. Rabbi Yossi gave 3 leniencies. He only gave you 1. Even if you matter something else, it's only 2, not 3. Yeah, but I mattered another thing. Mine, it's not. Someone says to his wife, Zeg yitech, I'm giving you a get now. He doesn't use the word me'achshav. He says Zeg yitech. And he makes a condition in lobati mikan ad 12 chodesh. And if I don't return within 12 months, the get will be chal. However, meis b'toch 12 chodesh, he dies within the 12 months. Ain't no get. He was already a dead man when the Tanai came at 12. Dead mans can't give a get. We'll see. If you say Zekitek me'achshav, it may have a different thing. But the Tani Allah and the rabbi studied this bright, they know he really not say. But the rabbis permitted her to remarry. Ve'amrinan. Man Rabbi, who were the rabbis that permitted her? Amar Vidam Shmuel. Beis Dina de Shor Mishchel, the same Beis Din that permitted Shem and Akum, which we know is the Beis Din of Rebbe. Serve like Rav Yossi. So the reason why they matir her to get married is because they held like Rav Yossi. Sha'omar Zmano shel shtar mochiach chala. It's the chalois of the get is based on the date that's written there. So we don't care. The date has a certain date. He didn't come within 12 months because he died. So the get is chal, Afreya. Retroactively, the get is chal. Varavava bred Rav Chia Barava. Rav Yudan Nasi Hoyre. Rav Yudan Nasi was matir. The law had low. Kol shaito. But the Chachamim didn't agree with him. Va'armi lo kol siato. His whole base didn't agree with him. Armalei Elazar lahu Saba. Elazar said to a certain ancient one. Some say wherever in Shas it says lahu Saba, it refers to Eliyahu Hanavi. Sharitu alter sharitu. When I matter, we mattered him right away. We didn't wait. For example, let's say he died in the 10th month. We didn't allow her to remarry after the end of the 12th month. When the end of the Tanai, we let her get married right away. Delo asi. We don't have any worry that the Baal's going to come back. He died. Or dil malachush de'masar chodesh. Or do we wait specifically for the time of the Tanai to run out, i.e., 12 months? The Shulchan Aruch says, if you say to your wife, Hareze gitech, you don't say the word me'ashav. Im lobati mikan vat 12 chodesh. And he didn't say almanas. And he died within the 12 months. It's a suffix megureshes. So the Psak Halacha is suffix. And she would require another get, misafik. Oh, because no matter what, it's not that he said if I don't come back within 12 months. Well, he didn't come back. And you can ask the same question on the following Mishnah, this not. You add the famous words me'asha. On January 1, the man gives the get and says, Me'achshav. If I don't come back by December 31. Umeis b'toch 12 chodesh havi get. This is a good get. Because he said Me'achshav. V'tiboy l'chadir, we also asked, do we say la'alter havi gita? Is it a get the moment he died? Oh, Dilma, alacha 12 chodesh. Do we wait till the condition of the Tanai is fulfilled? The ha'akaim le Tanai. So, Enachanami, you could ask the question on that Mishnah. It was part of the same business that mattered the original case. So they asked it about the first case, not about the second case. But it's a good kash on the second case. Amar by hakol moedim, that if a person makes it tonight, for example, he gives her a get at night and says, let the get be chal when the sun comes out of its pocketbook. So l'chinafka ka'armelu, he means when the sun rises. If the guy died at night before the sun, it's not a good get because it's dead men don't give gets. It's get lachar misu and it's not a get. But if he says almanas shetetze chavim in artika, and he says me'achshav ka'armela, it's as if he said me'achshav. Then even though v'chimayis b'layli, even though he dies at night, havadai tnov, it's a condition, and if the condition is fulfilled when the sun comes out, it's okay, and it's considered a get mechai when he's alive when he gave the get. Whoever says alnas when there's conditions set, it's as if ko'omer me'achshav dami. The only question is lo nechleku ella be'im timtzacham, not almanas, im teitzecham. Rav Yudah Nasi Sravelok Rav Yosi. Shomer zmanu shel shtar mochiach chalav. We let's look at if the time of the get is earlier and he was alive at that time, and later on the condition is filled, it's okay. Like Rabbi Yossi, it's like he said me'achshav. And Rabbanan let's look Rabbi Yossi. It's like zegitechim imati greda without me'achshav, and then therefore would not be a get. Gufa. We're going to analyze something in detail, that which we mentioned in passing.Heid Yosi ben Yoezer ish tzreida al ayl kamsa dechein. He gave testimony on a certain grasshopper called ayl kamsa that it's permitted. V'al mashka beit mibachai dechein. And the water and blood on the floor of the butchery in the base of English is also Torah. V'al dikarv l'mesa misor. Someone who touches a dead body becomes Torah. The Korei Yosef Shard. Now, the Gemara goes through each case. Ma ayil kamsa. What's this case of ayil kamsa? Rav Papa Omar is a grasshopper called Shushiva. Rav Chia Barami Mishmei de Ula Omar Susvil. It's called Susvil. Rav Papa Omar Shushiva, the Kamiflagi, and Yossi ben Yoezer and Chachamim argue Berosha Aruch. When you see a grasshopper, it's got a long head. Marsava Rosha Aruch Asr. That's a siman that is prohibited. And Yossi ben Yoezer Marsava Rosha Aruch Mutter. Rav Chia bar Rabbi Mishmei de Ula Omar Suspil, that if it's in the species of a suspil, Berosha Aruch Kulam Lo Pligi de Asr. The suspil does not have a long head. And he holds that according to everybody, grasshoppers with a long head are puzzle. Do his wings cover the majority of his body when bedoichek, if he has to? Mar Savar, Ben Yair says, Ruba Kol Dubinan. All you need is little bit above roiv, and it's kosher. Marsova ruva de min kabin. No, we need a. If it's just 51%, you can't look at it and clearly identify that it's rov. You need a clearly identifiable rov. Rov anir le'inayim, says Rashi. So we have a new principle in rov. It's not just rov. You have rov anir le'inayim. It's something we should keep in mind in other sugyas. Then another thing that Rav Yossi Ben Yoezer mattered was al mashka be'mid b'chayi deftein. We know normally fluids are machshir, something to be makabel tuma, something dry, and beverages themselves. The Chachamim gave a gzeira of a sheni betuma. Yet in the base of Mikdash, they said that these beverages are tohar. My dechein. What do we mean? Rav Amar dechein mamish. They're not makabel tuma, and there's no tuma at all. Shmuel Amar dechein milatame achem. They don't have the power to extend their tumah to something else. Aval tumas atzman yeshben. Rav Amar dechein mamish k'sover tumas mashkin is this whole gzeira. Why do we have natilas yadayim? Because Chazal said that our hands are a sheni, and all liquids are a sheni. But all of that's midrabanan. V'chi gaz rabbanan tuma b'mashkin da'alma. That's regular beverages. But in the base of Mikdash, lo gaz rabbanan. They didn't want to add tuma in a place where it would be problematic. But Shmuel Amar dechein milatame acherim. When Yossi ben Yoezer said it's Torah, it's Torah milatame acherim. Aval tumas atzman yeshbem k'savar. Differently than Rav, tumas mashkin deraisa. The fact that beverages have been given a tumah that's been deraisa, but the ability latame acherim for that tumah to extend to something else is only rabbinic. When they made that gzeira b'mashkin da'alma, but regular beverages b'mashkin da'alma, but b'mashkin shalbeimit b'chai lo gazru. Okay. The other thing that Yossi ben Yoezer, the third thing that he was lenient on, is al dekarv lemisa, misoiv. Somebody who touches a dead body is tummy. The kori le Yosef Sharya. I don't understand something about Yosef asron boy. What do you mean? He asr. He didn't matir. The odd. What are you telling me? It's something that Yossi ben Yoezer made gzeira on. It's doraisa. It says by the chsiv v'chol asher yiga al pnei hasadeh b'chalal chervo b'meis yitmash yos yamim. Whoever touches a halal, which is a dead body, or a mace, chalal cherev, a cherev that killed a mace, or a mace, he's tamei shivas yamim. So what do you mean Yossi ben Yoezer came and gave a tumah? So the Gemara says d'oraisa yikarev tumah. Someone who directly touches the mace, yes, he becomes tamei. Aval dikar b'dikar, but if that guy touches another guy, tohor. But v'asu inu v'gar afilu dikar b'dikar. The Chachamim made gzeira that if someone who touched the mace touches somebody else, he can convey that tumah. And comes Yossi ben Yoezer v'asiu v'ukma deraisa. He made it that even that secondary tumah is midaraisa. Break the Gemara, the carve not midaraisa. The second touch is also midaraisa. The chsiv v'chol asher yigabo hatamei yitma. Whoever the tamei person touches will become tamei. So we don't need a gzeira for the second degree tumah. So Amru Arbar Kamei de Rav Mishmei de Marzut Reid Rav Nachman, Damar Mishmei Rav Nachman, Daraisa Dikar B'Dikarev B'Chiburim. It means somebody touches a mace, and somebody's in contact with that person directly, like a chain. So that conveys me Daraisa. Tumas Shiva. But Shalo B'Chiburim, he's not in contact with the person. The guy later on comes and touches you. That's tumas error. That only creates a one. Also inu the guzer al shelo b'chibur tumas shiva. Comes Yosef ben Yoezer and said even when you're not in direct contact, but he touches you in the second hand way, it creates a tumas shiva. I'm sorry, that's what the Chachamim did. Yosef ben Yozer made it a Doraisa. Now, what Doraisa is it? Doraisa might see. It says Hanogeh b'meis l'chol nefesh adam v'tamei shivasmi uksiv v'chol asher yiga bo atamei yitma. That's 7 days. Uksiv v'hanefesh hanogas, the person who's touching that person titma da'arev. No more, only 1 day. Hotcakes. That seems like there's a stira. One pasuk says 7, one says 1. So, the pasuk that conveys tumah that last 7 days is b'chiburin. One person touches a corpse, another person is in direct contact with them. That creates tumah shiva. When the pasuk said you only told me 1 day out of erev, that's shalom b'chiburin. You're not in direct contact with him. Didn't I tell you to don't hang your halachas on empty vessels? B'Rav Nachman. What you said is not correct. Rather, Hachiyam Rav Nachman. This is the correct version of what Rav Nachman said. Safek tu b'rishus harabim hitir lehem. We know that we have a din about Safek Tumah. We know something's Vaday Tumah, you can't touch it. What about if something is Safek? We don't know. Maybe it was Tumah, where it was one. So we learn from the din of Sota. The Torah refers to Sota as Tumah. If a man in front of witnesses warns his wife not to sequester herself with another man, so that's step one in the Sota process. Step 2 in the Sota process is 2 waiting that see her and the man that the husband warned go into a room alone. They're miyachid. We don't know what went on in there. If we have Eidim that see them actually have relations, then we put them both to death as adulterers. But we don't know what happened in the room. It's a suffix. How do we get out of the suffix? The husband has to take the woman to the Beis HaMikdash and make her drink the Sota waters. And that clarifies the suffix. Either she comes out alive, or if she decides I don't want to drink, then she loses her ksuba. And the suffix is dealt with. But what we see is, meanwhile, she is suffix tumah and she's not allowed to live with her husband until she goes and drinks the water. So we see suffix, and that occurred in the Rishus HaYachid. So from here we learn that tumah b'Rishus HaYachid is tomei. But let's say you find a piece of something in the Rishus HaRabim and you're not sure it's tomei, suffix tumah b'Rishus HaRabim is mutter. And that's what was matir. Frag the Gemara, v'ahilchus sota gaminallah. It's the suffix tumah is not learned from some kind of gzeira. We learn it from sota. Mas sota is b'Rishus HaYachid, and yet she's treated as tomei. Av tumah b'Rishus HaYachid is treated as tomei, but there's no chiddush of Yosef ben Yozer. So we answer, Amrav Yechon halacha ben moin kein. Even though it's halacha that this suffix is store, l'maisa we don't paskin it berabim this way, because people will be mezalzel in tumah, and that was the practice. V'asiu v'orilei uria. Comes Yosef ben Yozer, and he told Klal Yisrael to know we're going to announce it publicly that in Rishus HaRabim we don't have to worry about suffix tumah. Taina Ma'achi, there's a brisa to support this last version of what we learned. Rav Yehuda Omer, Koirois Noatz Lehem, Yosef ben Yozer gave them simanim, v'omar. He would make lines in the road. Ad kan Rishus HaRabim, ad kan Rishus HaYachid. And therefore, it was clear to the people how to treat their suffix tumas. Kiosel Kamei Rav Yanai, when they came to Rav Yanai to ask him a question of suffix tumah Rishus HaRabim, he says, look, there's water in that river, go and be toivel. It means, take away the suffix, it's very easy to go to the mikvah. The Mishnah said hashlokos, things that are cooked by goyim, even though there's no dvar isur there, you eat them, but they're not asur bano. Menon emili. Amar Chia barav Amar Yichno Amar Kra. Moshe sent word to Sichon. Ochel bakesav tashbeni. We will buy food from you. V'chalti umayim bakesav titli v'shasis. And the din is, the food was like mayim. Ma mayim shlo nishtanu. We're talking about buying food that, like water, that hasn't changed its character. Af oichel shlo nishtana. Like a raw carrot. But if the person did something to it, like cooking it, a Jew can't eat it. El meyad chitin. What if you have wheat, vason close, and he parched them to make parched wheat? Hachanami dasurit. Is it going to be osir because it's not natural? And the chitem hachanami, maybe you'll tell me, yeah. Vahatanya chitin vason close mutarin. If a boy parched toasts wheat, it's mutter. So the Gemara changes its structure. Elakimai. It's never changed. It's the same tzura. Af oichel. You buy from goyim. Shalon ishtanu mibriyaso. It hasn't been changed from when it was created. Because the tzuras chitim in that case of the klais hasn't changed. It still looks the same way. Well, let's say the goy ground wheat into flour. Now that's clearly the tzura has changed. And ochanami dasura, are you going to tell me that it's osir v'chitem ochanami vatanya chitin vasoin kloyos or ukmachim v'saltois shalen mutarim? You can buy flour from goy, even though they've changed the wheat into flour. So there's got to be another drasha to mayim. Ela kamoy. Or it means we're buying water that hasn't been cooked with fire. So what food is prohibited from goyim? The food has been changed by fire. And here is where, of course, we learn, both the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch learn from here, Bishulakum. Asru chachamim le'echol bishulei goyim. Afilu kishe'en chashash l'taruvas isur b'hem. Something to do with, he put something isur in there. We're going to learn. It's because of chasnos. We don't want to eat with them because we're going to marry their daughters. Okay, we'll stop here. So today is Thursday. Tomorrow we learn at 4:30.
Okay.
4:30.
Oh, yeah.